You're listening to How to 20-something, the best podcast that helps both men and women navigate their 20s and learn how to adult across all aspects of their lives. We're going to focus on career, relationships, finances, fitness, nutrition, and all of the common challenges and obstacles a typical 20-something will face in this post-college life. I'm your host, Jess Diamond, and I am the CEO and founder of Jess Diamond Coaching, where I help young professionals get their shit together, gain their confidence, and own their life. No one prepares you for this adulting world, so allow me to help you feel like you are no longer a chicken running around with its head cut off, and that you actually know what the hell is going on and what your next step to take is. Welcome to How to 20-something. Welcome back to another episode of How to 20-something, where I'm going to validate some of your experiences as to why adulting is so damn exhausting, while also telling you that you're the culprit to enhancing this exhaustion. It's no secret that once you graduate and enter the real world, all of your previous responsibilities that were held by your parents now fall on your shoulders. You go from living this carefree life to walking around with what feels like the weight of the world, and as a result, you're dragging. You have stressors you've never had before, routines you have to create and be able to adapt for yourself, and additional mental loads filled with what you need to be doing to be a functional adult in society, like remembering to pay rent on time, tracking your subscriptions, making your own doctor's appointments, keeping your fridge stocked. It's exhausting. Now throw in the sun setting at 4:30 p.m. and you're ready to throw in the towel and hibernate until summertime, which you're not too far off with that ideology, but allow me to help you out a little. I was talking about this with a client right before the time change happened, and she's actually who inspired this episode because she keeps saying how exhausted she is 2 months into fully adulting. And it brought up two very important conversations that I'm going to share with you throughout this episode. The first one has to do with the sun setting earlier and essentially there being a lot less daylight available to us. As a result, we feel like the day is done as soon as work is over because the sun is no longer out. It's cold, you're more tired, and you're frustrated with feeling like there is no time for you to do anything this time of year. Or if you do feel like there's time, you're frustrated with the lack of desire to want to do anything. Sure, there's holiday cheer, but this exhaustion you're feeling this time of year specifically is due to the natural cycle of the year. It's been a minute since I brought up caveman times, so to remind you, back before technology was a thing, we operated under what the sun and the weather told us to do. When the days are longer and warmer, we're out, we're social, we're hunting and gathering, building our society, doing things. Then when the days get shorter and colder, we slow down, we stay in, bundle up with one another to stay warm, and relax in the structures we built when it was warmer out. Fast forward to the lovely Industrial Revolution, mind you, an extremely outdated way to live in 2025, almost 2026, and the concept of slowing down with the changing seasons or speeding up respectively disappeared. Now, you're expected to work at the same efficiency and capacity at all times of the year, which is not how humans were designed. Look at wild animals. We operate in the same cycle as the animals in our external environment, not your house cat. But outside animals hibernate for winter. They stock up on all their supplies and slow down. We're supposed to do that too. However, our society has eliminated that natural cycle, so we're fighting to keep up in a system that's not built for us. And you're left thinking something's wrong with you. When in fact, it's not you, it's the stupid, outdated society. That being said, there are ways to get around this exhaustion. And no, it's not ignoring all of your body's signs and signals and keep persevering through, but rather it's to lean into this time of year. And I say that if you're operating in the northern hemisphere of this world and not the southern hemisphere, at least at the time of this episode being released, which is December. So allow yourself to rest and recuperate. Don't overload your schedule or overcommit to social activities. Invite more relaxing nights in. Sure, have people over, see your friends, but put on a movie, light a candle. Slow the fuck down. You cannot expect yourself to operate at peak capacity all times of the year. That's how you burn yourself out. You need to lean with the ebb and flow of the seasons like we did long before electricity was invented. We have the same brain and nervous system as we did 200 years ago, as we did 2,000 years ago. But we forget all of that because we've only ever known electricity to be in existence and therefore rely on it when it comes to the changing seasons. So following the rhythm of nature is half the battle. The other half of this conversation with my client was when I asked her, when does the exhaustion hit her? And she said it's at the end of the workday. It doesn't matter how much sleep she gets or how much caffeine she has, she feels dead and then has to and wants to do things after work, but it's a struggle every day. She feels like she's in this perpetual state of exhaustion, which is true and totally valid. But what I asked her next is what shifted this whole conversation. I asked her if she's sitting the entire day. And she said, yeah. Now, mind you, we have spoken ad nauseum about getting up throughout the day to move your body, but it was more from a health perspective. I mean, you hear me talk about this all the time about how the desk jobs life is the worst thing to happen to the human body. So, while yes, getting up throughout the day and going for a walk is definitely healthy to do. It helps you focus, it puts you in sunlight, which is helping your circadian rhythm. It adds steps to your day, which is good for your heart, and then from a metabolism perspective. But she didn't care about that. She's 22, so that doesn't really affect her just yet. What is affecting her is this exhaustion, to which I explained that she's sitting for 10 hours a day. This is including her commute. So what she's unknowingly doing is telling her body that all it needs to do is have enough energy to sit. Energy begets energy. So if you're telling your body 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, that it doesn't need to do anything else besides sit, it's unreasonable for you to expect your brain and body to just flip this switch at the end of the day and suddenly have energy. Because you just told it that it doesn't need that energy. When you get up throughout the day, you send the signal that your body needs to produce energy to be able to go do things, active things. As a result, you won't be dragging your feet just trying to get to your car at the end of every workday. And now she's interested in moving her body. It's an adjustment you have to be mindful of in a way you've never had to before. Kids naturally have energy. You were probably put in sports growing up or playing with the neighborhood kids. In college, you had to walk across campus to get anywhere. Class, the dining hall, the gym, so movement was built in. Now you're sitting all day long. You stop telling your body that it needs to have the energy to do things. And our bodies are really, really good at listening to what we tell it to do, even when it works against what we want it to actually do. But when you do nothing all day, you're going to have the energy to do nothing all evening. Yet you're still demanding it to be able to do these things without any signal throughout the day. So when the end of the day comes, your body is like, cool, we keep sitting, this is our natural position, we're not burning a lot of energy, we are here. It's on you to teach it differently, which looks like intentionality. It's getting up at different intervals throughout the day and going for a 5 to 10 minute walk, preferably outside, or if needed, then on a walking pad. It could also look like parking further away from the door, taking the stairs, using the bathroom across the building. Do whatever you need to do to get your butt up and moving. Now, you could already be doing these things and think, but Jess, I'm still exhausted. To which I will tell you, welcome to adulthood, where we're all fucking tired, and for different reasons. You're tired when you're a 20-something learning to balance all of life's responsibilities and expectations, where you need to work out, maintain a job, have a hobby, see your friends, date, take time for self-care, make food, have a clean apartment, get 8 hours of sleep a night, which actually I want to remind you about my newest free resource I created for you guys that you can claim in the show notes, but it teaches you 3 ways to maximize your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5 and actually helps you put some of these strategies into place so it doesn't feel so overwhelming to your schedule. But basically, we're all tired all the time. You're tired as a parent who is juggling all of the things I just said and raising humans. You're tired as a middle-aged man. I have a personal training client who would use his exhaustion as an excuse for his performance, but really his focus during his workouts. And every time I was like, you could go up to anyone in this gym right now and ask them if they're tired, and they will say yes. You're tired because there's a lot on your plate right now, and it's only going to increase. You're tired because the US society doesn't give enough time off throughout the day or even throughout the year for adequate rest and recovery. You're tired because we don't follow the natural rhythm of the seasons. You're tired because you're not fueling yourself properly. You're eating junk food or heavy carbs, and that's sucking up all your energy. You're tired because you're scrolling on your phone all day and need to be stimulated by a screen at all moments. You're tired because you're constantly thinking about what you should be doing and aren't, so you're wasting mental energy paralyzed in what your next step is supposed to be. You're tired because you're an adult, and being an adult is tiring. If you want to do what's within your control to be less tired, then it starts with building the basics. Something I talk about all the time. Your nutrition, your sleep, and your exercise need to be locked in 90% of the time. Otherwise, you aren't even giving yourself a fighting chance to not feel tired. So start there. Knowing that your full-time job is going to eat away at a lot of your time and capacity. I hate the saying that we all have the same 24 hours in a day and it's how you use them that makes a difference, but it's true. How you use your time will directly correlate to how you feel about yourself, your life, and your body. It's a very clear reflection. So if you don't like what you look like or how you feel, then you need to change your habits to fit those better versions of you that you can grow into. And it's not to say that every day of your life needs to be dialed in. You can still go out and have fun. It's actually your solid foundation and consistency of healthy habits that allows you to deviate for the worth it fun stuff and be able to rebound faster. Like how, as I'm planning out this episode, I went to the Jonas Brothers concert last night, and it was a Wednesday night. And I still got up for a 6:30 a.m. client the next day. It also meant that I know I'm taking my Thursday a little slower. I prepped for good sleep the days leading up to the concert and the days afterwards, again, so I can rebound from that late night and little sleep as fast as possible. But I get it. Being exhausted sucks. Society isn't going to help you in this area, so you need to do what you know you need to do to try to keep up with a fast-paced environment we're being forced into. If you don't figure out a way around your perpetual state of exhaustion, you're going to have less drive to show up for yourself and your goals, feel like you are dragging through your life, experience less happiness, and overall view life as pretty shitty. And that's when you get burnt out and have this itch to burn your whole life to the ground and start over. So stick with what's in your control. How you can pull back or ramp up at different times throughout the year. Know how your social calendar fits in with your work's busy season. And know that there's always going to be a give and a take. Adulting is always going to be exhausting. But your strength and resilience around that exhaustion and what you do when you're feeling it creep in more than usual is what will make the difference. You're not alone in feeling tired all the time. You're living in a system that asks for too much and never gives it back to you. But what I do want to tell you is that adulting doesn't have to feel like this constant uphill battle between the shoulds, needs, and wants. You get to decide what you want to do to keep your energy in reserve and give yourself a break every now and then. Cut yourself some slack. You're doing the best you can, and sometimes you just need an adulting timeout. Go home to your parents. It's the holidays. Maybe you'll get to sit back, kick your feet up for a little bit. Go on vacation. Use your PTO days. That's why they're there if your company gives you a lot. I know my first job out of school gave a decent amount. My second job gave 5. So use your PTO days. Take that much needed time off. Trust me. It'll give you more energy than you could even imagine. Which is how I'm going to end this episode. So thank you for listening to me rant and for listening to another episode of How to 20-something. If you liked what you heard, learned something new, feel compelled to book a vacation, or know someone who is always complaining about being tired, then please share this episode, post it on your story, send it to a friend, just do something, anything to help me reach all the 20-somethings navigating the most confusing decade of their life. And as always, I can't wait to be in your headphones again next week with another brand new episode.